Hello and welcome to another episode of The Laws of Minecraft with me, LawFromChaos. And today we'll be going over Dartcraft. Now, this is just an introductory one. I'm going to be going over, I'm actually going to be going over one specific thing later, but I just wanted to go over what I'm going to be covering as I go through everything. The first thing I want to do, a lot of people focus on the research and what to do with that, and I will definitely be getting to that because that's very important to understand. But what a lot of people do not focus on is what you can actually do without anything at all. Without doing any research or anything else, you can just take a look at everything and see what you can actually end up doing. So that way you can look at it and go, okay, so this makes sense. I can do this before I do anything else. Because there's a lot of blocks in Dartcraft that are useful on their own, that you really don't need anything else at all. Because, I mean, what's the point? If you don't know what you're doing, you know? It's one of those things where I'm like, this makes sense. Oh, I can use this before I do everything else, and I can use this to complete my research steps. And so all these other things are addendums unto what we are capable of. And so I just wanted to kind of go over what all those things are. Okay. So a few basics. I'm going to be going over the furnaces. I mean, there's some specific things you can only do after some research, but there's a lot of things you can do with them before that point. And so we definitely want to get into those. I want to go into the storage units. Again, more can be done with research, but they're useful on their own to start with. And also I want to go into the bricks, the various brick types, because they are very, very useful, and they can do a number of interesting things. But most people don't know that these are available and what they do. And I'll get into the Force Infuser when I start talking about how to actually use it. I want to talk about just kind of what shows up across here. And so, like, what you can do with different items. The Force Wrench, for example, very useful, and something that you can make before you're actually doing the research at all. The same thing with the Force Gears and everything else. A lot of these can be used as replacements in machines, so if you're using less gold and more force. So all of these things are things I wanted to talk about. Okay, so specifically in this episode, I just wanted to discuss very briefly the red storage units, or not the red, but just red storage units in general. There we go. Okay, so they're very simple to make, and essentially they're just a chest. It's a cobblestone, stone, cobblestone, stone, cobblestone, so etc. So that's all it is. And if you want to take any other kind of chest, you can actually label all of these with different colors. And so I want to get into inventory, cheat mode, and see if I can grab one of these. It's my NEI is doing something odd, so it's doing. I think I need to make it world based. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I can tell I want that. That's the max storage size. Okay, I wonder if I can still get the recipe somehow. Perfect. Now I can still press R and do that. Okay, good. That's good to know. If you press R while holding above one of these, even if you're in cheat mode or some other mode, it will still give you the recipe. Just so everybody knows. Okay, perfect. So these right here, they are essentially just an ordinary chest at this point. Now there's a few things you can do to them later, which will make them even more useful, make them mobile, so you can move items with them and so on. But to start with, they're a cheap chest that's completely stone-based. And they also look nice, and they can sit right next to each other. So you can do this, which you could not do with regular chests. So you can stack them like this. So there are definitely some uses for them. You can also color them with a painter, I believe. Paintbrushes of various kinds. Let me see if this will work. No, it doesn't appear to work with this one. Good to know. It's always good to know what what does and does not work. Paintbrush. La da da. Okay, they were originally designed. There we go. Let's give it a yellow to work with Industrial Craft 2, I think. But since Industrial Craft 2 is no longer part of a lot of mod packs, some of the stuff that was originally planned for them no longer works. So I think the only way to color these then is to do it like this then, where you have a chest like this where it's gray or whatever color, and you take it and you look at the recipe and you see that it's a storage chest of any kind pretty much, and then you put red next to it, dye essentially, and so you can color these different things, and so you could end up with all sorts of very pretty chests, and you can color code things and say, okay, this mod will be this color and so on. Makes it a lot easier to use. So they're very simple, very uncomplicated, and I just wanted to go into those first. And so I am going to leave this particular episode at that. Be very simple. I'm going to go into a lot more detail with what the storage units can be upgraded with later. And I'll have a specific episode, if you wanted to know about that, entitled Storage Unit Upgrades. So you can just look it up if that's what you're looking for. Okay, that should be everything. So I will see you guys next episode.